Hello everybody, welcome to the starting 11 prediction for the Arsenal versus Liverpool game, 8 p.m. Saturday night. The Reds are back. I am so excited. My name is Ben Kelly and I'm here to predict Jurgen Klopp's side for this game. I think this is the only show on this channel that I have never done before, so it's nice to kind of complete the portfolio, as it were. But yes, I'm here, so I'm going to do a little bit of chatting about the game as we go on, because there's loads of options here. Some lads have had rest during the international break, some lads have had some really good form in the international break, so there's loads of choices, and obviously we have had a few lads back from injury over the last few weeks as well. I'll be coming to your comments in a minute, so get them in, get your questions in, get your super chats in, get all of that sorted. But first of all, it is my job, it is my duty to tell you about our brand new game that you can play to get involved with this game and what we do with it. It's called Redmen Picks, and it's very, very simple to play, and most importantly, it is free of charge to play, which is the key thing. I'm not a betting man myself. I don't really tend to do accumulators or anything like that, but this is a really good way to kind of get involved with the game, have a little bit more, riding on it, and not just sitting there, and obviously hoping for Liverpool to win. So it's very, very simple. You go over to redmenpicks.com. It should be on your screen now, and there is an opportunity here to win up to £1,000 in the prize pot, which is obviously, it's just free money. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is head over to the website, sign up with a few details, and then the payout structure is broken down as such, as you can see on the screen here. First wins £500, and £250 for second, £130 for third, fourth wins £70, and finally fifth wins £50. But obviously if there's like ties and stuff, so I think with the Wolves game, somebody won the £500, and then from like second down to sixth, there was like 5 people on 200 points, on 22 points. So they all won £83 each or whatever. It just split the the rest of the pot among them. So it's really easy. All you have to do is head over to redmenpicks.com and have a look through. So we're going to have a little look at the questions for this week. This is the first time I've actually got involved. Paul and Chris have been doing it for a few weeks now, but I decided to sign up for this one. So we can see there in green, we can see what Chris is picking, and then what I've gone for in blue below as well. So the first question is, will Liverpool score in the first half? Chris has gone yes, I've gone no, and I think we're going to score in the second half. Will Liverpool score in the second half? Yes, we've both gone with yes there, and so have 90% of Liverpool fans who played the game as well. That one's worth 2 points, worth 4 points. How many goals will Liverpool score? Chris has gone for 2, I've gone for 1. The question 4, also worth 4 points. How many goals will Liverpool concede? Chris has gone for 0. I've gone for 1, which, probably the most intelligent ones of you out there will now determine that I think Liverpool are going to draw this game 1-1. I think the Emirates is a really, really tough fixture. And I think, over the last few years, I don't think we've won there since 16-17, like the year with that Coutinho free kick. So I think this is going to be a really tough fixture. I think we're going to come away with a point. Question 5, will Liverpool beat Arsenal? Chris has gone for yes. I've obviously gone with no for this question. Question 6, will Mohamed Salah score? I've put no, Chris has put yes. Will Diogo Jota score? We both put yes. I think Diogo Jota is going to score Liverpool's only goal of the game, and that might tell you a little bit more about the team that I'm about to predict in this show. Will Trent Alexander-Arnold assist the goal? I put no for this. Chris has put yes. Trent Alexander-Arnold has assisted 3 goals this season. Upon sort of thinking about it, Trent has a big point to prove. I'm going to talk about it more in a little bit. So it is possible that he gets an assist for the goal, but in this case, for my Redmen picks, I've said no. How many tackles will Ozanka back make? Very difficult to predict this. I put 3. Chris has put 2. These are the type of questions that I think will split people up on the leaderboard. How many tackles will Thiago make? I've put 1, Chris has put 0, so maybe Chris doesn't think he's going to start this one. How many saves will Alisson make? Chris has put 2, I've put 2. Again, it's really difficult with that. I think with the top quality attacking threats that Arsenal have got, it could be more. And then finally, how many shots on target will Mohamed Salah have? Chris has put 2, I have put 1, and there are your 12 questions. So yeah, as I said before, head over to redmenpicks.com, sign up, make your picks, and you could be in with a chance of winning part of the prize pool of £1,000. Obviously, as always, gamble responsibly. Be gamble aware. But this is, I find, a really good alternative to the normal betting apps, the normal accumulators, because it's completely free to play. There's pretty much no risk attached, and the only time you have to put any bank details in is if you actually win something, and we can give money to you. So there you go. So there is the Redmen Picks side of it. Now on to the team, what you're all probably here for. This is a really interesting team, I think, particularly with the Real Madrid games coming up as well. Obviously, you run the risk of injury a little bit, but I think top four is just within our grasp. We've got to keep winning football games, and I do genuinely think, I kind of said this after Fulham, but I do genuinely think that if we do lose this game, that's probably it for the top four, and he really will then throw all the eggs into the Champions League basket. But I think while we're still within a chance, I think we need to be trying to balance the teams as best we can. So I'm going to talk about the team that I'm going to play. I've got them all here. There's a few options, but I think in goal, we're pretty happy with Alisson Becker there. I think, obviously last few weeks have been a little bit difficult for him, but, he came out, did all right in the Wolves game. So his position is safe. Trent Alexander-Arnold next up, again, big point to prove. He, obviously left out of Gareth Southgate's squad, so close to the Euros. He'll be worried about his Euro 2021 place now, and he will want to go out. The England spot really means a lot to him. We know this, as fans. I don't think we're as bothered about England, but Trent Alexander-Arnold certainly is. So he'll be out over the next few weeks to play out of his skin, and hopefully get himself into the England squad for the Euros. Gone with Big Nat Phillips. Move Alisson up a little bit there. Big Nat Phillips to go along Ozan Kabak. Yeah, we're all happy with this, I think, at the moment. These guys, said before, they're not the centre-back partnership that we've all probably would have chosen at the beginning of the season, but, they've looked pretty solid against Leipzig and Wolves, so I see no reason why that should change. And then at left-back, another one that was, maybe being discussed a little bit, Andy Robertson. I think a lot of people, we discussed this in the uncensored match build-up, which is out on YouTube now, in terms of, do you bring Tsimikas in for this, with the Real Madrid games coming up? Andy Robertson, out of the whole squad, played the most minutes at international level over the last 2 weeks. So, he's obviously Scotland's captain. You can't expect any less. Do you look at rotating? I think Robertson probably gets his rest against Villa or Leeds over the next couple of weeks. I think, a game against Arsenal, up against the likes of Nicola Pepe, Lacazette, maybe Saka, although I've heard he's a doubt for this one. Robertson's a really good, I think he's got to start, to be honest. And then in midfield, Fabinho in the position that we all know and love him in. I think, it's a no-brainer. He's really good at centre-back, but he's even better as a number 6, protecting these guys, and I think, it's ideal to have him in the side. I've gone for Gini Wijnaldum. Obviously, he's played a lot of football this season as well, but I do think that he'll start this one because he's just so important to the way we play. And I think that, this spot in a minute, I'm going to have a conversation with some of you guys, and I'm going to, have a conversation with, I've not yet decided basically who I'm going to put in this other midfield spot, but I do know what Gini Wijnaldum brings to this side, and whichever player I choose to put here in a minute, and I'll tell you the options, he will do a lot of the dirty work for them, a lot of the tackling, and I think Gini's crucial in starting in this one. So, next up here in this other midfield spot, and I want to get your thoughts in the comments on this. My number one choice for this game, given the Real Madrid games coming up, I've gone with Curtis Jones, and the reason I've gone for him is because of the England under-21s performance that he put in last night. He was excellent for them. He was the best player on the pitch. Him and Esse were fantastic for England. And I think that here, again, that balance with Real Madrid coming up in the week, I'm not sure that Jones is going to start in a game of that size. So I've gone with Jones. However, and I know what people in the comments will be saying, our other two options are obviously this man, Thiago. Does Thiago play? For me, he's a little bit different to Jones in the way I don't think he's got as much energy, but obviously he's got a lot more creativity. He's got that in bundles as well, and he can probably play those more difficult passes that maybe Jones doesn't have. What Jones has is the ability to run at defences and cause them problems. Arsenal a little bit temperamental at the back. Maybe that's something that we need to deploy against their back four. Jones running at somebody like David Luiz, who can be a little bit erratic. The other alternative is Naby Keita. Do you play Naby Keita in there? I'm not sure that he'll start against Real Madrid either. So does then that become your midfield three? Having having Keita in there, it's a really interesting debate because it's nice to just have options, to be honest, isn't it? Just because previously, I mean, Curtis Jones at the beginning of the season probably wouldn't be getting into our side if it wasn't for the injuries, but he's played well enough to actually force himself into contention when everybody's fit, which is nice. I think if Jordan Henderson was fit, I think he'd be walking into the midfield. Maybe you rotate Wijnaldum in that case, but obviously we don't have our captain available at the moment, so it's these three really, isn't it? Who are you going to play in that middle one? I'll have a little look in the comments. Hitchin Baz, Thiago needs more minutes, possibly. I mean, he's had the time off, hasn't he, over the international break? So perhaps has he had the time off? People let me know in the comments. I'm not sure if he has had the time off. I think he has. He's obviously might be a little bit less match sharp. As I said, Jones's performance last night for England was fantastic. So I'd try and carry a little bit of momentum. Even though England went out, he scored a really good goal. He was really creative. And he was central to pretty much everything that England did. So I would try and carry that momentum into this game, to be perfectly honest. And as I said, I don't think he's going to start against Real Madrid, whereas I think Thiago has more chance of doing so. The Dragon 20 says Fabinho, Gini, Keita. Conor Rubalcava, sorry mate. Keita needs more games. Absolutely amazing player. I completely agree. I do think that Keita, I think if he can get himself fit and firing, he perhaps belongs in our best midfield. But I've been saying that for 2 years and he can't get himself a run a game, so who knows. But I do think that Naby Keita is, offers us something really different. Who else have we got here? Kevin, Ox is definitely a possibility. Yeah, I've got Oxlade-Chamberlain down here as well, because he came on against Wolves. I'll just stick him over Wijnaldum for now. He came on against Wolves, and he was really bright for that 20-minute spell, or however long he was on the pitch. He's a player right now who I think is probably playing for his Liverpool career. I think, he's in one of the last chances I think he's going to get. And it's not really his fault. I know injuries have hampered him. But I think we're starting to get a midfield now, when everybody is fit, that Chamberlain's starting to fall a little bit behind. And I think, if he can start putting in more performances, like that little cameo against Wolves, then he certainly has a chance. But I think at the moment, when it comes to potentially, raising funds for signings in the summer or whatever, I think Chamberlain might be the first ones that we look at selling. And, it's just my opinion for now. Let's have a little scroll down. TM Gaming, Fab, Ox, Keita will start and deserve it. Fab, Ox and Keita, interesting. So you think that, two players who are a bit more attack-minded against Arsenal? Possibly. I mean, there's always the added dimension of, Arsenal away for Oxlade-Chamberlain might mean a little bit more to him. Resting Thiago would be clever. He has to start against Madrid. That's from Adam Finnegan. That's kind of my logic here. I want Thiago rather completely sharp for Madrid, and I'm thinking, if you start Jones or Keita, and then you bring Thiago on, depend on the game, I suppose, but you bring Thiago on for the last half an hour, just get some minutes in the legs, and then get him ready for Tuesday. Obviously, we've got to make the trip away to Spain, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's have a little look at any more before I talk about the front three. No, none for now, but keep talking to me. The front three. So, as we all know, for Roberto Firmino back in training this week, what do we do with him? Well, I'm not going to start him. I'm going to play Mohamed Salah. I'm going to play Diogo Jota. And I'm going to play Sadio Mane. They're going to be my front three, and I'll tell you why when I've made that decision. Obviously, Diogo Jota on international break, great form for Portugal, 3 goals in 2 games. He scored the goal against Wolves. So I think what we're seeing now from Jota is evidence that, he's not just hit the ground running at Liverpool. He's not just, built himself up a little bit of momentum. To come back to the form that he was in before that injury, having been out for so long, and just almost come back into it as if it's not a big deal, we're seeing a really top-class player here from Diogo Jota. And I think, he is somebody who, I really love Roberto Firmino, but I think right now he's comfortably ahead of him in the side whenever he can play. So I'd play Jota. Now, what I would say about Firmino is that he is more experienced in the big European games, and he's, his track record in the big European games is massive as well. So I'd be doing the same with Firmino. I'd be starting Jota. I'd be bringing Firmino on for half an hour, and that just gives him an extra few days of training as well before Madrid, to get himself fully match sharp. He gets half an hour against Arsenal, and I would start Firmino in the Bernabeu on Tuesday. That's what I'd do. But I'm having a few more comments here. So Hitchin Baz saying Salah in the middle. Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. So we do that. Oh no, hold on, that's get rid of Firmino up there. Yeah, more like that, isn't it? But Jota can play either side. I mean, you know, it could be. It's a very fluid front three, I think, particularly when Jota plays, because he can play down the middle. You know, he can play wide. He can play in a 10. You know, he can do all sorts of things. Can Diogo Jota? He's a very, very talented man. Let's have a little look at more comments. I'd want Jota in the Madrid game, says Zell. Yeah, I agree. Potentially. I mean, the other option is, I suppose, for Madrid, and we'll get into all the Madrid content post-Arsenal. I think, you know, as fans, I think it's our job maybe to fall foul of getting ahead of ourselves with these games. This won't be what Jurgen's doing, I don't think. He'll be looking at, you know, this game and then Madrid and then Villa and then Madrid's second leg. And, you know, he's got a kind of plan on a game-by-game basis. Potentially is still top four might just still be within our grasp. We've got to try and play as if it is. So, you know, in terms of that, with Madrid, I suppose, you know, you could switch to a 4-2-3-1 if you want to try and get yourself an away goal and play all four. I mean, we did that away at Manchester City in November, and they couldn't live with us for the first 20 minutes. So, you know, maybe that is an option, but obviously once you do that, you start to run out of options on the bench to bring on, because, you know, do you really want to be bringing on Divock Origi away at Real Madrid in the Champions League? Probably not. Shaqiri's a little bit more of a creative option, but you're pretty much putting all your cards on the table with the starting 11 when you play a 4-2-3-1 for me, so it's a little bit more difficult. Sensational Sir saying play Nico Williams, please. Potentially, I mean, both of the fullbacks have played a lot of football, but Alexander-Arnold, fresh off a 3-week break, point to prove to Gareth Southgate. He's the first name on the team sheet on Saturday, 8 o'clock. Let's have a little look. No Sergio Ramos from Madrid, absolutely. Play Nico Williams at left back because he's played left wing back for Wales and he's been decent. Robertson needs to rest for Real Madrid, potentially. And I do think that, you know, maybe if we were playing Villa this weekend or Leeds this weekend, that would certainly be a conversation for Tsimikas or Nico Williams to play left back. But I think for this one, let's get Robertson through the next two games, and then we can be having this conversation this time next week, ahead of the Villa game, about who plays left back and if Robertson needs a rest at that point. Will we really play our strongest 11 for the Prem? I think as long as top four is still relatively attainable, I think he'll try and balance it best we can. And any more? I'm just trying to find any from the members. Game is way too important for Robbo, can't rest. Yeah, I agree. I think Bobo is the right fit, even though Jota is in good form. Jota coming on as sub gives us more strength, potentially. And, you know, Jota, I think, you know, he didn't do a particularly great deal against Wolves. Obviously, he gets the goal, but other than that, you know, he was quite quiet. But I think at the moment, just Firmino's goal return, it isn't good enough. And I think in a team at the moment, you know, over the last few months, we have struggled for goals a little bit. Jota's the guy scoring. He's scoring for Portugal. He's scoring a Liverpool shirt. You know, I don't see why not. And any more? No, I think that's everything. So yeah, there you go, guys. There is my starting lineup. I didn't really decide on a midfield three in the end, did I? I'll go for Jones. I'll go with my gut instinct. I'll go with Fabinho, Wijnaldum and Jones. But, you know, who knows what Jurgen will do. He might play three at the back for all I know. He just keeps changing things around. He can be quite unpredictable, can't he? So yeah, there you go, everybody. There is my starting 11 prediction for Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates, 8 o'clock Saturday. Head over to redmentv.picks.com to have a little look at our free game that you can play to get involved with this. The Unsettled Match Build-Up Show is out on the website now, out on YouTube now. Oh, there's a super chat. Hello, from Damian Jarowski. Robert to play 70 minutes and Tsimikas the rest. Yes, good shout, potentially, yeah. Did Tsimikas come on against Wolves? It's been so long now, I can't remember, but I think he possibly did. Yeah, so thanks very much for the €2 super chat, mate. And we'll see you next time, obviously probably post-Arsenal now. Join us for the watch-along on Saturday, and then all the post-match content afterwards, and then we'll be going into the big Real Madrid game and all the content that will come surrounding that. Goodbye.
We've got a brand new game for you to play each week. Redmen Picks is completely free to enter, and you could win either £1,000 or a share of £1,000. To win, all you have to do is answer a few questions on the upcoming Liverpool game, and whoever gets the most right will win a share of the prize pot or the full prize itself. That's it. It is that easy. You've got to be over 18. Terms and conditions apply, and you've got to gamble responsibly.